Welcome on the AM show. We get into our big stories now, and we start with the very first one as we analyze, we assess the MPP's regional elections. What has transpired so far, and what does this bode for the party moving forward? Joining us for that discussion, Dr. Kwame Asante. He's a political scientist at the University of Ghana. We also have Pope Yao Yevo, Volta Regional NPP Secretary. Gentlemen, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Yeah, good morning.
Great. I'll start with you, Doc. So what is your assessment of the entire enterprise, apart from the central region where elections on the back of that injunction have not been held? In all these other regions, we've had casualties, we've had new winners, new entrants, but we've also seen a retention of many. Some pockets of violence or activity that wouldn't have been expected. And there's also the bit about money in our politics. Your general assessment of the elections.
I think you've summarized everything. We've seen ugly spectacles. We've seen, the rebuilding of the party. Some of the leaders have retained their seats. It gives you an idea that the people who are working on the ground are solidly behind them. It also brings in new energy, and it puts the party on a sound footing for the battle of 2024. We always hope and pray that we don't get the ugly spectacle that you and I don't want. But hey, when we are dealing with human institutions, these things are to be expected. I hope that the party will take political notice of this and then work against it to nip, if possible, nip those phenomena in the bud. It is interesting to know that the party, in spite of all their difficulties, they are getting their regional executives elected. It's a good thing. It gives people more hope. And then it also makes the party more attractive to people that, hey, all is not lost. We are in to build a solid party to fight the battle of 2024. So it's a bit of pluses and minuses, but I hope that by the time they get to election of the MPs and then the flag bearer, we are not going to experience the negatives that you and I don't want to see.
What were the highlights for you? Did anything in this entire enterprise over the 3-day period shock you or take you by surprise?
It is becoming more interesting that, look, the violence that characterized the initial elections is going down. And for me, as a political watcher, that is more gratifying, that it appears to me that the political elite within the party have started talking to people on the ground that, look, you go to a political contest, just assemble your team, do your homework, and you either win or lose. So I'm sure that a message has gone, or a word had gone wrong, a word had gone round where, people are now listening to the leaders and all that. But the other side is that why do we still have the incidents that we don't want to see? That is the homework for the political elites. They should be able to address this so that we can have incident-free elections and all that. I am also happy about the renewed energy for the youth and supporters of the party. It gives the party hope. And for me, as a student of politics, it also tells me that the parties, for that matter, the MPP, is becoming stronger by the day. That is something that we expect all political parties to do, so that we'll have solid parties that will stand the test of time. But you see, apart from elections, we must move into action, that whatever they promise us, they must deliver. You can have all the fine candidates elected. You can have all your supporters well put in place by the electorate. If you are not able to govern, you are not able to deliver on promise, I'm afraid all these things will come to naught. So much as they've comported themselves in this election, I expect them to also lend their support to the government so that the government can deliver on its numerous promises. Let us remember that if you check the manifesto of the MPP, there are a lot of promises that the party made during the 2020 election, and we expect the party to deliver come 2024. So they have a Herculean task that they should not lose sight of. Once they lose sight of this, I'm afraid the battle is going to be difficult for them, even though they know that they claim that the battle is the Lord's and the Lord is behind them. But in politics, it's the reality that will really win the day. So they must be careful about this.
Let me come to Pope. Pope, thank you for joining the conversation. When you look at the pattern in the Volta region, not too different from what we've seen. Woanya winning the chairmanship slot, and you are now secretary. I mean, how did that make you feel? I mean, getting the nod of the people, and what did it take for you to get the nod? Do we have Pope with us? Hello, Pope? Yevu,
Okay.
can you hear me?
So can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. So thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers, and congratulations to all regional executives elected. Yes, I feel humbled by the victory, landslide victory I had with other colleagues. Humbled because this is a privilege that myself and other colleagues have been given to serve the party at this level. You know, I have been a grassroots person. If you check the background, I got into the race barely some 12 to 10 days into the race. But I came out with a landslide victory because I am a grassroots person. I've been with the party people right from my days as a constituency secretary, becoming at the same time when I was constituency secretary, I was a deputy regional communications director. I became the regional communications director, and I've been everywhere in the region. And so when my candidature came up, which was suddenly predicated on calls from the grassroots themselves, I think that's, and certainly, of course, because of my message too, they bought into it and voted for me the way they did.
So it was your message that got them to vote for you. And of course, interesting dynamics in there because you are a former communications director, now secretary of the party. And like you said, within a short span, you were able to amass this number of votes to secure the slot. But beyond your popularity in the party, in the MPP, if it comes to resources you had to expend, what can you tell us about that?
Well, if you check if you do your investigations, I think that I keep saying that politics is not always about money. It's always about those resources that people may spend. Because when I went around, I told people that politics is now more about relationship. Because when I looked at the polling station and the electoral area elections where people give and others don't give, and yes, those who don't give, they win the elections. I keep saying that politics is now more about relationships. So for me, if you check, you realize that I have to just give something small for TNT, and that's the end of it. And it's about relationship really, because the people keep telling me, Pope, if you don't give us anything, we'll vote for you. And that has encouraged me so much. When I went around, I don't have so much to give them, but I won the election. So basically, we must begin to at politics more on relationship issue as a relationship issue rather than people thinking that it's all about money. If you can get your reporters to verify for you, that if there is something to spend, I should be the lowest, the lowest in terms of expenditure. But I've won the elections based on the relationship that I've built with the people.
All right. So now that we're talking about expenditure, how much did you spend? I mean, that's a very simple question, isn't it? It's a question that, especially as you're talking about you're being the least spender and all of that, it shouldn't be a problem telling us, actually, I was the least spender. I spent this. I mean, we know how much we spend in politics, so it wouldn't be new to us.
You see, I don't, like I said, I haven't spent so much because when you talk of politics, in terms of expenditure, you are not just looking at probably what you give out to people, your own movement, your posters, everything that you did, all of this involve a little bit of money. But I can tell you that I haven't spent more than 30,000 to get to where I've gotten to.
Okay, you didn't spend, so you spent just about 30,000, not more than that. At most 30,000 to get the slot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. So at most 30,000 CDs. It comes to the fore because we've seen other things. You didn't contest for the chairmanship in the region, but others did. And we saw the sort of largesse, the sort of free spending. People talking in the Ashanti region, people talk, and I'm just going to try to avoid names. People talking about the fact that vote for me and I'll give scholarships to your children or whatever to the United States. That's not going to be an easy enterprise. People giving out, look, finish, if you can give proof, you get a free vehicle, saloon car or a truck. People doling out money and all of that. What do you feel that says? What picture does it paint of the leadership of your party as elected over from the weekend? So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I mean, how reflective of that is? Are these people the party wanted, or is it money taking over the MPP?
Well, if I can situate whatever you said in terms of the Volta region story, I believe that even my chairman, Honorable McAfee Kofi Woanya, who won the elections, he won the elections based on the relationship he has built with the people. He's been a grassroots person. He started as a constituency organizer, treasurer, 3 times constituency chairman, regional second vice, parliamentary candidate, regional organizer, then regional chairman in the last 4 years, and then now regional chairman again. And he's been with the people. So for me, basically, when it comes to about the expenditures we are talking about, the things I hear, the Volta region here, I can't speak so much of the things we are talking about in terms of the expenditures. So for me, we believe that the elections basically is almost about the politics, the victory. Basically, ours is basically about the relationship that we have built with the people. Because see, we as a regional executive in the last election, we went around the polling stations, and this is the first time you can check from the country that we as regional executive, myself and the regional chairman especially, we've been to every polling. We've done what we call the regional tour, the polling station tour, the electoral area tour. And for the first time, you get to see polling station executives and electoral area coordinators having an interface with the regional executives at their level. We went through this to give them targets, to assure them of the party's victory and the rest. And so for me, that is what has worked for us. Because when it comes to money, I don't have one to spend. And so I have campaigned on what I've done in the past and what I will do going forward. And that is what has worked for us. So for us in the Volta region, there was nothing like go and vote and come for A, B, C, D, and the rest. All that we have done, it will help a little bit so that the people can get to the grounds and early and vote for us. And that's the end of it.
Would you say the same that worked for the rest of those who won? These relationships that you claim won for you? Or is that just unique to you and your chairman?
Well, it cuts across because my chairman, the first vice, the second vice, these are people who are always with the people. In the Volta region, let me tell you this. we believe that there is a saying as an aware, let me put this so that probably I will translate. To which you don't know somebody for a very long time, and in the night when you see the person, you want to lit a lamp to see the person's face. And so that has been something that's cultural about us, that people, when they know you, that you are for this principle and for this culture and for this reason, whatever the situation may be, when the odds are against you in terms of money and influential people telling people not to vote for you, all those things, they will still stay with you. And so for me, there were places I went to, I just mentioned some of the delegates, their name, and they tell me, Pope, we are going to give our vote because we don't want to come to the regional office looking for the secretary, and the secretary will begin to ask us, who are you? Once I'm able to identify myself with them, they are going to vote for me. I went to places, I want to start talking, they tell me, Pope, with or without a message, we are going to vote for you. So my chairman, for example, this is somebody who is very, very generous to the core. He's been there for party people, doing a lot for them, solving their problems for them, and the rest. The first vice, the same. The second vice, the same. My assistant secretary, super. I mean, the youth organizer, this is a grassroots person. His name is Barrister. He's there all over the place, and the rest. So for us, I think that the Volta region people, the delegates, are so much comfortable with somebody who they know. And it's not about the highest spender or the highest bidder. So today, we are happy that we are going to build upon that relationship. That people, for the fact that we are with them and they know us, and the fact that they have reposed the confidence in us, we are going to maintain that relationship. We are going to be with them. Just to tell you, we are ready right now even to go back there and to say thank you to them. That is what we are, the current executive we are made of.
Okay. Let me come back to Doc on this specific matter. It has come to the fore again about people contesting for this or that position. Of course, we can stretch it to what has happened in light of what we've seen as far as John's testament is concerned, and other matters arising, declaration of assets and all of that. But coming up forcefully again, political party spending. And the question is, if you are here to serve, why are you pumping in so much money, so much in terms of resources, people giving out cars and money, doling out wads of cash, and even offering scholarships, proposing? What picture does that paint in terms of our democratic practice, even intra-party, within the parties?
It is simple that the political elite, take it or leave it, have corrupted the system. Because, look, if you want votes, there are three things. It is what I call RSM, your resources, your strategy, and your message, which is tied to what? Your manifesto. Resources, human resource, who are the caliber of people you are put in place who are going to contest or vote for you, or you are going to vote for. These are very, very germane issues that need to address. Yes, you will spend some money, but we believe that this thing must be within a certain range. That doesn't raise an eyebrow. But what we see like a marketplace where people dole out money, throw money out just to induce, entice, and get people to vote for them. It tells you that there's something wrong, the grassroots with our democracy, because democracy does not, flow with behavior like this or habits like this. No, it's an aberration. And we have encouraged these things over the years. And what the laws on that, the elites have thrown them away. Nobody wants to enforce anything on that because they themselves, who are the political elite who must enforce these things, are guilty. Of course, not all of them, some of them are guilty of this. So it becomes difficult to fight that battle. I'm not sure we are going to win that battle until the political elites decide that enough is enough and that we want to have a clean state when we are, engaging in elections and all that.
Doc,
but until that,
Doc, briefly, I find it curious that you make that point because you're saying, I feel that if on a national level, we were able to deal with the declaration regime and other things pertaining to political parties and their funding as per our constitution, and even have wider laws on that. If at the national level we say you can't do X, you can't do Y, you can't do Z, that would percolate to the regional level and beyond. But if we say it is left to political leadership, all of this favors them. They would never do this. Are you not in agreement with me?
Yes, I do. But come to think about it, who are supposed to enforce the law? Is it not the executive?
But we can compel the executive. As a people, we have a voice. We can push for a certain agenda.
Yeah, that is one.
And ensure that they do what must be done.
That is one aspect. Another aspect is that we, as the electorate, must also force them to do the needful if they want to renege on their promise and whatnot. So it's a difficult thing. And if you look at the two actors, that is the elite and we as the people too, we have not helped matters because we always glorify them. They come dole out money, we collect and vote for them or vote against them. We encourage the practice. We also, as elite, political elite, like, look, we know the laws exist, but look, I want to bribe my way. I want to win power by hook or by crook. If that is our position, then I'm afraid all this hula baloo about let's get the political landscape clean and order, we are not going to achieve that at all because we ourselves are ready.
Tell me, Pope, Mr. Yevo, the new secretary of the MPP in the Volta region, was mentioning that for him and likely his chairman, Mr. Woanya, they won based on relationship. In fact, Pope came into the fray very late. He's a former communications director. And he says for him, he didn't expend anything more than 30,000 CDs. How much credence would you give to this in terms of the relationship discussion, how much of a role relationship plays? You spoke about your key issues, RSM. But what role does relationship play? And again, reflect on this. If a secretary for a regional contest is spending up to about 30,000 CDs, what does it mean? Justified?
I listened to him. That is what he's telling us. But I have a different view. My view is that perhaps the figure is more than what he told us. But hey, he is telling us. So let's work with that. But what I'm saying is that, look, we have corrupted the political system to the extent that it's difficult to win an election without throwing money in. It's very, very difficult. Because for intra-elections such as what we are seeing in the MPP, there is more of such influence in there. You need to make sure that you grease the palms of the people who are going to vote. Otherwise, they will throw you away. It doesn't matter the relationship. People will tell you that they need to survive. And that, look, you need to do something. That is, you need to cough up money and so forth and so on. It is also true that you have people who have over the years served the party. They have become the face of the party in their regions and all that. And that, look, any day, any time, they will win elections. But that is not to say that money will not get through the process. We have corrupted the system in such a way that it is very difficult. But I admit that there are some whose pedigree, whose work are giving them the votes that they need. And those people are very few within the political system.
So when you look at all of these happenings within the party, and you consider the fact, for example, that in almost across all the regions, the MPP is re-electing their chair people and all of that. I mean, crucial among them, you look at Bono, Abronya DC is back. You look at the Ashanti region, Chairman Wontumi won again. Not such a large lead. Yeah, pretty large, 306, 400 and something. There's also in the Volta region what we've seen. In the Greater Accra region, Divine Aghom won by some 6 votes. by and large, the narrative, if you take out Bono East and Western North, where the chair people lost, and then you add Eastern, where the incumbent didn't even contest, and Central, where the election has not even been held, the narrative is that they are retaining their leadership. And the MPP on the back of that has said they are battle ready for 2024. Looking at the crop of leaders they have re-elected, does that give you that confidence that they are battle ready? Because these are the same people who were, a lot of them at the helm of affairs when they lost by quite a number of votes in the presidential election, and also lost by quite a lot in the parliamentary election, which has led to our hung parliament.
Yes, I'll start by looking at even the grassroots. If you look at the last election, about over 30 people were swept away by the NDC tsunami. It took them away. It tells you that there's something went wrong at the constituency level, all right? Because at the constituency, you have the DCE, you have all the party elites and then the actors there. What happened that they did not see in terms of intelligence? The state apparatus were there, and then they provided them with all manner of information and all that. The party even structure. So what happened? Then you come to look at it from the regional point of view. One would have expected the constituencies, if they fail, that the regions will be able to pick the signals and right the wrongs. But what happened? They also were there when all these things happened. So if you are retaining the leaders, then you are telling us that, look, either you are oblivious of what happened in 2020, or that maybe you think that this time around things will change. But you need to convince everybody beyond reasonable doubt that, look, the people you are retaining now, they have learned the lessons. Now they will be able to do the work and do it properly. So as you put it there, then as a political communicator, you give your opponent the ammunition that, look, this is an old dog, and that we know how to handle it, right? So it becomes a difficult task for the MPP that, look, this is the view that the other parties have about them. So they need to work extra hard, because other than that, look, the same story will be repeated. And that is what I'm afraid of.
When you look at the Upper West region, for example, and after this, I'll go to Pope once more. When you look at the Upper West region, you have Dr. Sambaye Kangbere, who himself came out to say, a pretty elderly man, who himself came out to say, look, I said I would do X, Y, Z. I was not able to achieve those. So vote for me a second time, and I'll be able to achieve that. That is an interesting narrative. You take that to the Ashanti region, where Chairman Wontumi in Chibwesiako also is in a similar situation. He promised delivering all 47 constituencies to the MPP. He has failed time and again. He promised a regional office that has not materialized, among other promises. But these same people have been given the nod. You're thinking, Doc?
It's going to be difficult for them because, look, politics hinges on trust. If you're a leader and you promise me ABC and you are not able to deliver, what is the point that when I give you the opportunity one more time, you'll be able to deliver? Nobody is going to be used as experiment. No, that experimental design will not work. So it's a deficit that they need to work hard at in order to erase that negative impressions in the minds of people. Other than that, look, people will just watch them and then vote against them. They need to do a lot. How do you convince me that, look, last time you promised me ABC and you were not able to fulfill them, but this time around you said, look, I will do it. Now that even we have difficult times, the economy, we are struggling to build it. Two, there are, bickering within the parties. There are a lot of cracks within the parties. There are a lot of problems within the party, and you have to put all this thing together, weigh it against what you are saying. Then you have a very undaunting task.
Let me come to Pope Yao Yevo, the new secretary for the MPP in the Volta region. Pope, so I'm going to ask you a few questions. I want to walk you through a few things about yourself, and do tell me what is right and what is not. You're a teacher, right? You train in college and all of that. Do you still teach?
No,
You don't teach.
no, I don't teach anymore.
So when did you stop
I work
teaching?
with I work with the National Health Insurance Authority.
Yes, I was about to get to that. But how long have you been away from teaching? I mean, how long has it been since you stopped teaching?
I stopped teaching in 2017.
2017.
Yes.
Okay, so and then you took up the post with the NHIS.
Yes.
Are you the director for the NHIS in the Volta region?
I am the municipal manager for Ketinoff.
Right. A curious question. What made you leave teaching for politics?
Teaching for politics. When I was teaching, I was doing politics at the same time.
Yes, but I mean full time.
Well, I think that I want to serve the people. As a student of politics, after my days in school, I've always been a student leader and the rest. So for me, I think that I was born to serve the people, and that dream, that inspiration has always been there. And so basically, to serve the people.
All right. I know I'm pushing this, but I don't know what your salary is as the director K2 North. You said, as far as the NHIS is concerned, and I wouldn't have you say that on air, not at all. But
Yeah.
if you look at what you say, at least you spent in your campaign. If we were to put the two side by side, would it be commensurable? Would we be able to say that yes, you funded your campaign from your own pocket, or what are the dynamics that you can share with us? Did you fund your campaign from your own pocket?
Well, before I started this, one thing about me is that I love to do a lot of consultation and the rest. So I can tell you, my family, the Yevu family, have been very, very, very supportive of this. They believe in me. They think that I have chosen a path that I have always been so much. I mean, I'm into it. I'm so passionate about politics. And having been a student of politics, let me say hi to my lecturer, Dr. Ashanti. And so my family believes in me, and they really helped in this direction with my own savings. Yes, I can say on this platform that I'm one young person who love to save. When I take my salary, I don't blow all of it away. I make sure I save. So for me, it's about the help from family and friends, and then my own savings that got me the small resources that I've been able to use to do this.
All right, so help from family and friends and your own resources. That was how you finance your campaign. Beyond the secretaryship position, communications director, now secretary, you're still retaining your NHIS position, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What next? Even as I come to the dynamics in terms of the new regional executive, what next? What is your next challenge? Would you at some point be going for the chairmanship position or a vice chairmanship position? I mean, do you see yourself getting to that point in the party?
I think that when we get there, we'll cross. But for now, I want to concentrate on my secretary position and to deliver. If that day comes and the people call on me again, and I also myself have the conviction to go up, why not? So, but for now, I really want to concentrate on the position that the people have actually given me to deliver. I like I said, I promised them two cardinal things, and for which I think that I want to concentrate on, because these two things are very critical for us, winning the election in 2024 as a political party, not just in the Volta region, but everywhere. Because I believe that 2024 elections, we can win it on two fronts: communication and through research. If we take these two things seriously, we are going to win 2024 hands down.
All right. You also elected a new youth organizer and among others, to steer the affairs of the party. When you look at your new leadership in the Volta region, how strong is it? And I ask that question in context. Of course, the Volta region used to The OT region used to be part of the Volta region. Now it's been separated. But your last real win, you had one seat in the OT region, which you've lost, and now you are hanging on to Ho. So when you look at these dynamics, do you feel this crop of executives can retain the seat, the Ameu seat, and even build upon that to secure more votes, more seats in the Volta region?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I want to say the new executive, I can tell you all of these people are grassroots people. They understand the dynamics in the Volta region. So we have a solid team. I bet you we have a very solid team. Now, I tell you, my chairman, myself, and others won because the promises the chairman made in 2018 to the people, he's been able to fulfill many of them. He promised building a regional party office. We are almost 80% complete. He promised, empowering the research department. He has done that. He promised, empowering the communications department, the wings, the women, Nasara, and then the youth wing. He's been able to do that. And so those were the things that we've been able to do. And he also promised to deliver about 5 seats for the region. He's been able to deliver one, that is the Hokwe seat, that's the Ameu seat. And then to increase the presidential votes. The presidential votes in 2016 regarding the 18 constituencies in the Volta region, we had 60,802 in 2016. But then in 2020, the presidential votes moved from the 60,000 to 100,148 or so. So based on those things, we believe that the team that we have right now, which many of them have been part of the gone executive, we are going to do a lot more because we have been the helm of affairs. We knew where we went wrong and we knew where our strengths were. And so we are going to actually build on those things in order to ensure that we annex more seats from the NDC. It is not going to be easy though, but with research and communication, I tell you, we are going to get there because the research and communication has done a lot of work in Ketunov, where I come from, and then of course Hokwe. The things you see in Hokwe, the victory you see in Hokwe, much of it is based on research and communication, and the kind of thing you see in Ketunov, for example, is also much of it based on research and communication, and of course the candidates who are involved. So for me, I believe that we have a solid team now that will deliver. This team is together. We pray that the Almighty God will help us to remain together and to prosecute the agenda of making sure
I wish I could have caught that snippet of what
the MPP 8 and yeah, am I
yes,
still
you're back.
on?
Please go ahead.
So we are able to break the 8 and then
Hello, Pope. All right, it appears the feed has frozen for a bit, but I think the thrust of what he was saying was that he believes the party with this crop of executives will be able to break the 8 in the Volta region in terms of the presidential votes and also win more constituencies. Please go ahead, Pope.
Yeah, so like I was saying, with this crop of executive, we have been in the helm of affairs. And so we know our strengths and weaknesses. We are going to work hard to ensure that we improve on what we have done, and certainly to win more seats in the Volta region and also to increase the presidential votes. And so we are battle ready. Of course, the battle is for the Lord. And we believe that the good Lord will give us the strength to actually deliver on the promises that we have made to the delegates in the just ended elections.
Let me just say that from our live feed on Facebook, one Alexander Kpodono Nkegbe, together with Ajololo Holy, are both sending you their congratulatory messages. So some saying congratulations to you. But what do you feel it would take, really, to achieve what you're talking about? It's not going to be easy. This is the stronghold of the opposition NDC. Just as it is difficult for the NDC to get votes and seats in the Ashanti region, it is equally difficult for you to do same in the Volta region. You have Hohoi, as you've rightly mentioned, but the last time you got a seat in OT, it was taken away from you. What are you going to do as executives to bring this tide of favor that will help you break the 8 and gain more constituencies? That is what I want to know.
Yes, we realize a few things, and we believe that when we are able to do those, we can get the kind of votes we want. One, like we said, we want to inspire the grassroots. We want to energize the grassroots. In 2020, when we went round, we told them polling stations that will win the presidential votes for us, we will try and recognize them for the things.
All right, so let me come to. It's unfortunate that the feed is a bit bad. I mean, the connection is not the most stable, but we'll try to get back to you, Pope. Let me bring in Dr. Asante. So you've heard what Pope has been saying. When you analyze it from the perspective of a political scientist who has followed our elections across the years, especially in the Fourth Republic, does he give you confidence that this new leadership in the Volta region, as far as the MPP is concerned, can cause a stir?
It's difficult to say because if you look at it, is true that since 1992, the MPP has been improving upon their performance in voter reading from 4% to about 16%. All right, there's no doubt about that. But as to whether they will be able to get more seats in the voter reading, for me, it's a difficult one. Why am I saying that? If you look at even the Hohoi, all right, we know the circumstances and all that. He is saying that is based on research and communication. We agree. For every elections, when you are going into election, you first of all need to conduct election, know the situation on the ground, out of which you can build messages and strategies and all that. So research, it's a sine qua non, without which not. But quite apart from that, there are constituencies where people have certain, tradition that they want to maintain. And that one, it becomes difficult to break. What is it that you are going to say to influence them? If you look at Hohoi, for instance, recently, as part of my research, I traveled from Accra to the OT region, Kwanta specifically, and I saw how difficult the terrain is. Driving from Accra to Hohoi takes you about 5 hours. You can imagine this. It is true that this program was started by John Mahama, and then MPP also continued from Hohoi to Kwanta, which used to be a very long distance. Now you drive for 2 hours, you are good to go. All right. They are working, but that's one of the things that the party, if they really, really want to impress the people, to fix that road. Quite apart from that, economic conditions of the people, very, very, very worse. How are they going to work on that? It's not only communication and then research, but beyond the research, you get the information, because I'm sure their research points to the fact that the economic conditions of the people are very poor. What are they doing to address that issue? And look, 2024 appears to be a long distance, but I tell you, it is just a few meters away. What is it that they can do this time around to improve the lot of the people to gain confidence so that they will maintain the seat? It's a difficult one. I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to be very, very difficult for them, if not impossible for them to win any seat in the voter reading. All right. But it's too early days yet. So they have to work very hard to be able to address all the challenges within the place. They should be able to also make sure that the promises that they gave, because now, look at even the last election, you saw a lot of analysis from think tanks and other organizations about promises and how far you have gone. Imani, they were on top of these issues. All these analyses are going to what? Come up And this gives a lot of information to the voter as to deciding on which party to give your vote to. It is something that they have to watch. But I believe that, yes, they can tell you all manner of things, but the voter reading, they have a lot of work to do. I am afraid they need to work and work. Otherwise, I'm not sure they are going to win that much seat there.
Did you find it surprising that across regions there appeared to be this problem? And in fact, in the central region, that is one of what culminated in the injunction. But across regions, you have TESCON members, Council of Elders members going to vote, and they are questioned about who they are in the party and whether they qualify to vote. Is that something the MPP has to address moving forward?
Oh, straightforward, because once people are raising issues and that you are not qualified to vote, then it means that there is a problem. Institutions, there's a problem with institutions. They need to work on that. So political education is key. Let them know who is qualified to vote at which election and whatnot. Once you don't do this, then people will have all manner of interpretation on this. It's going to affect your vote. That is something that they need to address quickly in no time.
Your concluding comments, Doc, in terms of your expectations after at least the string of elections we've seen so far, your concluding comments. And then I'll give Pope the same opportunity as well. But I'll start with you, Doc.
Yeah, my comments are that, one, it is not enough to win elections, be happy that you are maintaining your leaders and all that. But they should go back to the drawing board and get the basics right. What am I talking about? What were some of the factors that led to their defeat in the parliamentary elections? That today you have a hung parliament. They need to get constituency by constituency analysis. They need to do that and convince themselves that this time around they will be able to weather the storm. That is one. Two, there are cracks that are emerging in the party, and it is not new to NPP. NDC also have their own problems and all that. How are they going to address that quickly so that by the time they get to, say, 2023, you have been able to address all these challenges and you have a solid team that is ready to prosecute the agenda of 2024. Three, they need to be able to make sure that they support the government to succeed than, looking for votes, trying to, undo one another. In other words, looking for positions instead of working to maintain their record. Let us remember that you can never contest any elections if you have no record, because politics is nothing but a contest of ideas and referendum of your work. What work are they going to stand on to campaign if they don't support the government? So yes, much as they are interested in positions within the party, everybody must be able to support the government to succeed. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for them to campaign, because I don't know what they are going to hang on to campaign. And above all, they should be able to have a solid communication team. There are things that, look, they bring against the government, are things that you need party people to defend. And you see them, struggling, and more often than not, they seem not to have any information at all. Right. I want to see a very active communication machinery that has the political wherewithal, has all the experienced people, it has the message, it has the strategy, and it has the sense of direction. Once they get this thing right, I'm sure it's going to help them. Otherwise, breaking the eight will be just a rhetoric.
Thank you so much, Doc, for joining the conversation. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, political scientist at the University of Ghana. I'll wrap with Pope as well. Pope, so what can we expect from your leadership, your regional leadership, as we head for election 2024? What can we expect from you, briefly?
Well, thank you. For us, as a regional leadership, I know our regional chairman is a very hardworking regional chairman. So we are going to hit the ground running. Like I said, we are set to go down there to the people who voted for us, to engage them, to thank them, and to engage them that there is work to do and not position to occupy. So, like we said, I am happy that Doc, my former lecturer, agreed with me that we need to do more research, we need to do more communication, and of course, to talk about the things that we have done for the people. That's where the communication comes in, the things that we have done in the Volta region. He spoke about even the Eastern Corridor roads. So much work is ongoing on that road. So we also have a record to go on with. And of course, we in the Volta region are going to support government within the region, government within the districts and the municipalities, government at the national level. We are going to support them so that more work can be done, more communication can be done, more research can be done, and we'll seek government support in terms of the research, especially because, as you know, research is a capital intensive thing. So we'll seek support from every party person for us to get there. But essentially, also one thing that is very cardinal for us is our engagement with our electoral area coordinators and our polling station executives. We need these people. We need to inspire them. We need to motivate them for them to stay with us, and we need to unite. We are actually calling on everybody, especially those who contested with us. We want them to bring their experience to bear. And certainly, one thing that we are going to do is to recognize all former executives, polling station, electoral area, constituency, regional executives who are no longer position holders. We will recognize them at various ceremonies so that they will feel very important and join us to do this work. So for me, yes, like Doc said, it is going to be very difficult for us, but it is not impossible. Just like we have won Okwe seat, we are likely to win other seats in the Volta region, and that the Volta region story certainly will change in terms of the MPP politics.
All right, thank you very much. Are you an old Maulian, though? I see a message says from Jancy Dollar, you've done the OMA fraternity proud once again. Congratulations. Are you an old Maulian?
No, that's an old Maronians Association. That is for all former students or trainees of Jaskan Training College. So we are old Maronians.
Right. Well, yes. They are sending you congratulatory messages as well. And we wish you the best on this journey.
Thank you very much.
Okie doke. Well, thank you very much for joining the conversation, Doc, and of course, Mr. Yevo. But up next, it's been a month since government started implementing the e-levy. There have been some problems, but the question is, a month on, how is the GRA working to ensure the problems encountered are solved? Joining us for this conversation, Patrick Frimpong Danso. He is a member of the e-levy management team, and he joins us next on the AM show for a conversation. Stay.